We are halfway through the day, but still have plenty more Overwatch action to come. I'm Achilles back in with Wolf for our next series. This is going to be the Chengdu Hunters going up against the LA Gladiators, looking to kind of even out a little bit after that last loss.
Sure, this is one of those series that can really go either way. I feel like this week we've had a lot of those, and with 2-2-2 now being locked in, it's a little bit, less certain who's going to win matches. We're seeing a lot more close games than we did in the previous 3 stages, and this is no exception.
Yeah, not at all. We're kind of going off the colors a little bit. Yellow instead of orange, and blue instead of purple, but we're pretty close. We're in the right palette.
We're close enough.
But man, this should be a fun series. Anytime the Chengdu Hunters take to the stage, it becomes a little bit chaotic. We've been seeing some changes as far as the roster. A little bit of Bacon Jack in there. We'll see if he's going to be playing in just a bit. Taking a look at the standings, so the Gladiators currently resting in that 6th place spot, trying to retain that, trying to avoid having to go into the play-in tournament to qualify for the playoffs.
Yeah, it's been a little bit up and down, as you mentioned. The loss to the Houston Outlaws, but a win against New York, and to lose against the Hunters here would kind of start a potential plummet down to that play-in tournament. They want to avoid that. Hydration has been running quite a bit of wrecking ball, and we're seeing him. He's one of the only players in this league right now that's actually playing their off role. You're allowed to substitute roles, and it's been on control, and particularly on Busan, where we usually see this wrecking ball coming around for Hydration. So if he does end up playing today, depending on the map, it will be against the legendary Among player, or the legendary wrecking ball player, Among.
Among player, yes. The wrecking ball plays Among.
That guy Among, he plays over there. So that'll be a cool matchup if we do get to see that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you never really know. Like you said, map dependence. We have to see exactly where we lie. If it's going to be the Busan pick coming through, which has been very prevalent so far, then perhaps we will have Hydration on the ball. But first, let's go ahead and bring out our first team. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome them, the Chengdu Hunters.
The Hunters have had their own unique style all season long, and that even itself carries into our final stage of this season of the Overwatch League, the 2019 season. They're looking to finish strong, as high as they can in the play-in tournament, but it's not without roadblocks here. The Gladiators are going to be the first of such. They will start YXL here with Jinmu, the DPS lineup. We'll see Among, of course, on Wrecking Ball, also playing the Flex Tank, and the normal support lineup for the starting 6.
Well, Jinmu has been looking quite good as of late. Still has to contend with some of the best DPS that we have in the league. Surefour himself says they are the best in the world. We'll see if they can hold that up today as we bring them out on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your home team, the LA Gladiators.
There have been ups and downs for the Gladiators here in Stage 4, but it's still early days. Playing in front of the home crowd again here at the Blizzard Arena. And you'll notice Roar walks out with the starting 6. No Hydration Wrecking Ball. Not going to try to go toe-to-toe with the Hammond of Among on the side of the Hunters. So we're going to see a more standard lineup here for control for the Gladiators. And we will, of course, have Surefour and Decay bringing up the DPS. So no Hydration in this list at all. May see him later on in the series, but it's going to be the main 6 here as we head into control. And this first map is really going to set the stage as to how the rest of the series is going to go in terms of how well these two teams match up against each other. And Roar, hasn't really been playing a ton of Wrecking Ball. We've not been seeing him on these control maps. So let's see if he can step it up here, because Hydration's been taking his place.
Well, who we have been seeing on control maps is Jinmu, thinking back to just last week. An absolute dominant performance from him, allowing them to get that long hold on Ilios versus the Fusion to get the flip back through.
Yeah, Jinmu has just been an incredible player all season long, and he's been playing Pharah. He played Pharah basically more than anyone else at the beginning of the season before it became meta. Made a name for himself on that, just like Among on the Wrecking Ball, of course. And a lot of people would say that Chengdu Hunters through Jinmu's Pharah kind of revolutionized how the game was played in Stage 3.
All right, well, taking a look at our map set presented by Toyota, it is going to be Lijiang Tower here for the start. So the Wrecking Ball, not going to be as prevalent of a pick for this map set. Makes sense that we will be seeing Roar and Void as the starting 2 tanks here for the side of the Gladiators. Hunters going to be looking to get their first victory on this map.
And because it is Lijiang Tower, it makes a little bit more sense that we will see Roar over Hydration, because Hydration has been a Wrecking Ball specialist for the Gladiators, and while you can run Wrecking Ball here, and I am absolutely certain Among intends to do so for the majority of this map, it's a better map where you get to run the Orisa, and we have seen a lot of Reinhardt even on this map so far, especially on Control Tower. Gonna be the McCree coming out here for Decay, blind, expecting the Sombra with YXL in. And it's also gonna be great against the Doomfist as long as he can hit those flashbangs.
Precisely, kind of have the double threat against Jinmu. And if you can get the hack, great. If not, and it can just try to rely on Decay with the flashbangs, as you say. Getting the timing down when that rocket punch is coming at you is very difficult. But these guys are some of the best. But already Jinmu gonna be able to find that first kill here. Wraps around the back, gets the mini pack to keep himself in the fight. Will be an exchange on 2 supports as Yveltal will also get taken down. Pushing forward here, around the backside of the point is Yang Xiaolong, just gonna be looking to farm up as best as possible.
Doomfist is a very cooldown based hero, so when you don't get that pick and you're threatened and you're forced away, even though Jinmu lived there and barely got the health pack, you're essentially, for all intents and purposes, dead, right? So end up being Gladiators having full control of the point after that moment.
Do get taken out of the fight effectively. Among going very low, now gonna be hacked by Surefour, who's looking to get that kill. Looks like health pack gonna be snatched by him over on the side room here. And Surefour gets closer and closer to that EMP. Yang Xiaolong gonna be trying to catch up. He's at 40% compared to the 78 of Surefour. That's going to be a very big ult for them to try to get back into this fight. But as the nano goes through from Keo, that is just going to be the fight going well the way of the Gladiators.
Incredible shot there from Decay to help close this out. But I was going to say, not to mention, you know, even though Surefour's ahead in EMP charge, Voltel is behind in sound barrier. He's going to be very far away from that when Surefour does end up launching this defensive EMP. And I'm not sure this is something that Chengdu Hunters can really recover from, because Doomfist's ultimate is not very good at initiating points. It's going to be hard to retake. They're going to threaten the back cap here. This is going to force Gladiators' hand.
Yeah, multiple members on the side of the Chengdu Hunters kind of surrounding the backside of the point. Decay actually gets sniped down by Kyo. Very nicely done by him. Chaz going to be using that nano boost, but the minefield from Among just going to be taking him down. Jinmu will land here onto the high ground with a meteor strike, just keeping himself safe. The cleanup will be there. The Gladiators will lose the point. They still have that EMP to try to get the retake, but that defense just completely fell apart.
Yeah, that's a great play by Keo. You know, he's one of our more bloodthirsty supports, as Doa likes to call him. But he has the flank, right? He has the angle. He finds Decay, which is a big shock. And then now, you know, the sound barrier, very likely to be ready here for the defense. There's a tiny window for Surefour to thread the needle on this. And obviously Jinmu's made the swap over to Genji.
And we've been talking about Yveltal trying to get his sound barrier online. There is an EMP from Yang Xiaolong that Big Goose is going to have to be concerned about. He's playing quite far back away from him. The hack actually goes forward, but Void just takes him down to the back of the EMP, just solo, getting rid of Yang Xiaolong, but is that going to be enough for them to get the flip?
They're going to need more than that.
Well, Deadeye does go through here. Yveltal makes his way out, and Elsa hounds down Decay. The sound barrier now coming in for Big Goose. Yang Xiaolong still has that EMP. He's going to be waiting to rejoin with the squad. He's going to be coming through for the main entrance in just a moment. Might not even have to use it here in the fight. They do manage to find 1 kill on the Kyo, but Surefour is going to be taken down. And the Chengdu Hunters, they could just maintain control of the point and keep the EMP.
The target selection for Jinmu, incredible. He gets so many dash resets. He almost has a blade here, and that's going to be so great with the EMP. And they don't have to use them together on this fight. It's going to be the next fight. And it's the fact that Big Goose had the sound barrier first on the point after Decay died. They're using Deadeye. That gives the Chengdu Hunters not only the defense, but also the better ult economy. EMP Blade is so powerful, even without the nano boost. It's going to be so difficult for the Gladiators to retake here. Positional advantage goes to the Hunters right now.
I mean, every advantage pretty much to the Hunters. Now have the lead here on the map. 3 members going to be hacked out by the EMP. The blade is drawn. Roar disappears. Void gets knocked out of the mech and finished off by the bomb. Jinmu looking for some more targets. Will not be able to find any. That's just because the Gladiators are getting cleaned up. The hack on the Decay means he can't make it into that ice block. Roar's just now swapping over onto the Wrecking Ball. They manage to tag in to force out this overtime. But the Gladiators, can they get this flip back into their favor and then hold it to 100? Jinmu, he's looking to shut down those hopes. Surefour and Shaz both get taken down. Kyo's on the side of the map again. It does not matter. OT will be bleeding away. A couple last-second tag-ins. Here's Decay is on the Tracer, but he is the only one left alive. And that should be it, and it is 178. The Hunters take the first round.
Surefour's EMP, the first one that he had, the one that he had the lead on, we were talking about Yveltal not having the sound barrier time, only hit a single target. It was Yang Zhaolong who died, but they weren't able to do anything after that. They had poor positioning, and Big Goose had the sound barrier to try to turn the fight. And as Decay died during Deadeye, the Hunters took that ult economy lead. And during that fight, we pointed it out, Jinmu got 90% of a blade with all the damage he did. We talk about this player as being an incredible Pharah, but he's a projectile DPS player who's got a lot in his arsenal, including the Doomfist. So he's a very terrifying player to play against when you make a small mistake and end up losing someone like a McCree, and then he starts getting dash resets. He's very mechanically gifted, and it shows up here again.
Pushing their way forward, Jinmu still with the Doom. Kree from Yang Zhaolong to match. We know that he is very adept with this hero.
He has a hit scan specialist, and it really does show.
Yep, Jinmu asserting his dominance here on the platform, but Yang Zhaolong will be taken down by Decay. Again, decent start here for the side of the Gladiators as the Bionade connects just to ensure that Decay can still remain in the fight. Gets a couple shots around onto Elsa, but can't quite take him out of the mech yet. But it is going to be the Gladiators, the ones who are able to posture forward as Among is sent flying through the air and take it down.
Decay asserts his dominance here after being picked by Kyo, previously dying in Deadeye in that second fight. So having two small blunders that really cost the Gladiators on the first round, he absolutely crushes YXL. 60% the leader, already has Deadeye. And this is going to force Jinmu to swap actually off the Doomfist. He's not able to get in there. He's going to go to the Hanzo.
Yep. A weakened Decay there. He plays into the back. Arrow's going to be spammed through, but a triple Bionade connects, and Amon goes down.
YXL will follow. Yang Zhaolong, a great hit scan player, one of China's best at the time the Hunters was formed. He's got a long history of playing McCree in particular, but unfortunately he's just not able to get line of sight. He's not able to really get out of spawn and go through this doorway.
Point spotted, but Surefour in the back, looking for Kyo. Takes him low, takes him down. Now has that EMP online, but will not have to invest it for a bit, it would seem, as they continue to come out on top. And I mean, a spawn camp like this on the side of the Gladiators, kind of uncanny to see this with a McCree rather than a Mei. Usually it's all about walling people off as they come through and winning the fight steadily like that. Instead, they're just outplaying them.
There's not even a hog here either. They're just absolutely outplaying them and abusing the fact that the Hunters are so reliant on that range damage they can't get off. They're going to back away now and try to take the EMP fight on the point itself. Kyo will have Transcendence in time for this. So there's a great way for the Hunters to finally turn this around. It's going to be expensive in terms of ults, but they need them. They need that trance.
Drop down coming through, this time the EMP. Still going to be hitting one person. Amon going to be taken down, but there's follow-up for the side of the Gladiators. Two taken out by that self-destruct. Yveltal does manage to put Jinmu back into the fight, but is that going to be enough? Amon has respawned, but they have to make their way over onto the point. 8% left to go for the Gladiators to take this 100-0. Void going to be eliminated by the Dragon Strike. Flashbang in onto Yveltal, but the hammer does not connect, but Surefour is there. Go ahead and capitalize on that mercy. So a support down are the Chengdu Hunters. Deadeye out, Decay going low. Manages to stay alive for a little bit longer, and Elsa with the self-destruct is unable to find anything. We're playing off the point for now. Decay goes around the side, finds Jinmu. The flip comes in, however, the Hunters are on the board, but can they hold this? Seems unlikely given how many members of the Gladiators are still hovering around the point.
Decay's trying to get an angle here, and he finds a YXL.
Pushes straight into the back, the flashbang through, misses the headshot, then has to reload. Elsa gonna be knocked out of the mech. Looks for the follow-up shot here. He's getting surrounded, but the Bionade keeps him alive for a little bit longer. But the combination of Elsa and Jinmu back over onto the Doomfist do manage to take down the Cowboy.
Hunters are holding here, and there is the respawn of Jinmu. He's here on the point. The Gladiators are going to have to regroup. They should probably just play around the EMP instead of trying to take this scrappy fight that if they win, sure, they do bring us to a third round. But when you have a 60% lead in terms of control meter, you're better off knowing your win conditions around the ultimates. They need to both bait Transcendence and build the EMP here.
Yeah.
If they actually fail this EMP, the trance goes off well, this could be a huge problem for them. Could cost them the map.
Gonna have to try to track Kyo. He's around the back, hovering outside on that little platform. Yang Zhaolong for now gonna be taking a nap, but does get woken back up, and now eliminated by Big Goose. Sending him sailing off the side. EMP comes through, manages to catch two. Both tanks going to be taken out, but Big Goose is doing some serious work on the side. Comes up with two, sent Kyo off the side of the map with the Transcendence still ready to go. Flashbang not gonna connect, but it doesn't matter because the flip is there.
And that's going to be it. Big Goose with the knockoffs, the zoning of Keo, preventing the Transcends from coming through. And he kept them zoned before the EMP even went off. He got the first kill there. And that's when Surefour felt like, okay, you know, and obviously Big Goose is communicating to his team, there's no way Keo can really trans this. He's too far away. You can go ahead and use that EMP. We're going to get these cleanup kills as soon as it goes down. So he's communicating this to the squad. And then he gets the kill on Keo himself, so he can't actually help them stagger. And we're going to take a look at that in just a moment. But, I mean, this is just a great play from an incredible Lucio player. So watch this. He's able to identify, okay, Keo's out of position. He's going to knock him off here. And this is after the EMP.
Yep. 2 members EMP'd. Just goes back in and helps take down the rest of the squad. Solid moves here from the biggest Goose. Ensures that they can go into this third and final round of Lijiang Tower. Jinmu now going to be over onto the Pharah.
Yeah, this is where you get to see Jinmu's Pharah, but Decay's already kind of blind countered it with this McCree. He's going to have to hit the shots.
That's very true. Saw some uncharacteristic misses from him in that last round, so needs to make sure that the accuracy is coming back through for him. Roar going to be taken down. In the meantime, we're here at the start. Now Decay. Not sure which way to look, trying to get the Pharah out of the sky, but Yang Xiaolong comes in from behind and manages to catch him by surprise.
It's very frustrating when you're a McCree player and you're having to deal with 2 threats at once. Your team is screaming at you to deal with the Pharah, and you're trying to also flashbang the Sombra, who's harassing you, getting that EMP. It's a lose-lose situation.
You're stressing me out and reminding me of my solo play on the ladder, so let's move away from this topic.
Well, Decay has got another chance to come back in here and knock the Pharah out of the sky. He's not going to switch heroes. This is still the right pick. But unfortunately, he's just too far away. The damage fall up here to really knock them out. He's going to have to get closer.
Well, has to wait on that one. As he does go low, was bionated there for the moment. Flashbang goes forward. Gonna fan the hammer to break down Among. Can't get that kill. Top up Roar, though. Is now on that Winston.
The zoning has been great here from Jinmu.
Yeah, I mean, just such incredible accuracy from this guy with the Pharah. Now going to be receiving the nano boost as Decay gets sent off the side. Minefield from Among takes Void out of the mech. And Jinmu is able to finish off that pilot form Diva.
Decay, it looked like, was trying to set up for a flanking Deadeye, and immediately Elsa's tracking him down and knocks him off the side there. He was low health as well. Now the Deadeye comes out, but he's not able to actually trigger it correctly here. He didn't wait long enough. Jinmu ends up living through it. That's just desperation. He's going to swap to the Tracer. Yeah,
I was just kind of hoping to get that pick and maybe force out the res, because even if Jinmu does die there, there's no way to stop the res from coming through. So it would have been for free. EMP comes down, Bionade on top, catches out 4, and Shaz just gets pile-driven into oblivion. Another clean fight win here for the Chengdu Hunters. Jinmu will get burned down by Surefour, but Among is there for the scoop, gets a little bit of vengeance for him. Now Decay is gone. We're at 85%. The Gladiators, they have a couple ultimates. They have that EMP, but they have to get over to the point.
They have the sound barrier as well. Big Goose was hacked by the EMP, so couldn't use it to counter it, but at least they could use it to approach the point. They've got to be careful with the barrage, though.
Sound barrier comes through. Roar not receiving those shields and does not have the Primal Rage available yet. It's going to be looking to get that online ASAP. As the Rockets continue to go down from above. Big Goose and Surefour both going to be eliminated right as the EMP comes out. It manages to catch 2, but the follow-up is just seemingly not there. Decay is still alive. The Pulse Bomb is going to be ready to go to see if he can find a target. Eviltal going to be picked by that self-destruct. Now Jinmu going to be gone. Elsa stomped out. The Gladiators have flipped it. They're finally on the board here in the final round. But can they take this to 100?
Remember, during all of this, the Hunters delayed to 99, as mentioned. They have built half of another EMP, and they still kept the barrage. So for the Gladiators right now, this is actually the scariest part, because they don't have a sound barrier to counter the upcoming EMP. They won't be able to build it fast enough. They know this, and they still have to be so careful with Void. If he uses his defense matrix the wrong way, then he's going to be dead to a barrage coming right at him, and so will his teammates.
Hack is there onto Among. Looks like Decay maybe wanted to go for that pulse bomb, but saw the defense matrix up from Elsa. So holds on to it, but now Jinmu, he drops in the barrage, manages to find 2. And now will knock Void out of the mech as well with the help of Keo. Not get taken down by the pulse bomb. The flip has come through for the Chengdu Hunters. Seems like that might just be it. Big Goose is still hovering nearby, forces out the OT for a little bit longer. Goes back in, is half HP, now hacked, now finished off by the minefield. The OT will dwindle away, and that will be it. The Chengdu Hunters start this series off with a bang, some close rounds, but they take Lijiang Tower in the end.
Void just not able to track Jinmu, not able to absorb that barrage. He was so concerned about Yang Xiaolong and finding him. He knew the EMP was coming. It's a lose-lose situation here if you're the Gladiators. Hunter's always up on ultimates.
Fantastic start for them. Let's see if the Gladiators can even it up, though, when we come back for the next map.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to Assist of the Week, presented by State Farm. The Washington Justice were barely holding the point on Busan when the Toronto Defiant pushed to recap, but Stratus's May dropped Blizzard on the entire Defiant team in a choke point, and Corey's Reaper followed up with a devastating Death Blossom.
Push reporting with the rest of the squad as the Blizzard comes down, the Death Blossom on top of all of it, and Corey cleans up house. He gets himself a quadra kill. And welcome back. Just one map into the series, but the Hunters have the lead. Able to take Lijiang Tower 2-1, starting things off on the right foot. Gladiators looking to bounce back.
Yang Xiaolong overall kind of outperforming Decay rather, and Surefour when he was on the Sombra. But it was, you know, honestly just great play from the Hunters in terms of ult economy and making sure they could win fights with one ultimate alone that made sure they could defend the ensuing pushes for the Gladiators. They forced Big Goose to sound barrier early in a lot of those fights, which empowered EMPs. They were pushing Void out of his comfort zone, pushing him around so that Jinmu could get the barrage off. And Yang Xiaolong is a player that throughout the first three stages we saw teched in a few times for hit scan, and it was usually on maps that required it or as kind of a blind counter to some compositions. But it was GOATs we were seeing, right? So he didn't always have the best fit in those comps, even though Chengdu was running less of that. And as we head into Volskaya, this is going to be another map where you really need that hit scan specialist. And it's great to see this player now no longer kind of a specialist player that you see teched in a few times, but actually a mainstay of this roster, like he was always meant to be when this roster was formed.
Well, it seems like it will be the double sniper defense getting set up by the Gladiators. Decay going to be on that Widowmaker, with Surefour on the Hanzo. We know that these guys are very interchangeable when it comes down to these two picks in particular.
Yeah. So I'm going to have a quick little pause here.
Yeah. Just figure out what the issue is and get it taken care of so we can go right back into the action here. So, it's like a little play, but not too bad.
Yeah. Volskaya, a really interesting map right now because of the dynamics around how the map works versus how it used to work in GOATs, where you'd see, oh, they took A and they got their ultimates and snowballed to B. We had the time change on Assault, obviously, recently to kind of make that a little bit tougher. You don't have these crazy time banks anymore. But a lot of Volskaya A is really dependent on how well the first defending team does, because that sets the pace for the next attack, right? How much time you know you have to beat, or you know how little you have to capture, right? If they just totally mess it up, then the other team's like, uh-oh. So I think it's really cool. Volskaya is definitely my favorite of the two right now, out of Volskaya and Hanamura, because of also the differences between A and B are so drastic in terms of what you need to run and how powerful Widowmaker could be as a defensive hero, and how many different players we are seeing try to counter it with their own Widow on attack to middling successes. There's a lot of mind games that go into the map.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, Gladiators, do they have anything new prepared for us coming into this is a big question. I mean, so far it seems like no, just with the double sniper setup. Not going to be seeing hydration as well. Makes sense given that the Wrecking Ball not going to be the best, especially for a defensive setup. So just want to be sticking through with Roar and Void for that one. So just trying to get things taken care of here. Sure4 causing some chaos there on the stage. I believe he has a mouse issue. So of course, need that to be taken care of, because as it turns out, a mouse is a very important thing when you're playing Overwatch, unless you're Malik, because he plays with a controller.
Yeah, and not yet in Overwatch League do we have any controller players here.
Not yet. Maybe one day.
But yeah, could happen one day. You never know.
I'd love to see somebody rise through the ranks and be able to compete on this level with a controller. Be a lot of vindication for a lot of people around the world playing on PS4 and Xbox and whatnot.
Yep. Multi-platform game, but we play the PC version here in the Overwatch League. So for the defense so far, it is going to be, as you mentioned earlier, Sure4 on the Hanzo, Decay on Widow. And they are very much both great Widow and Hanzo players, but Sure4 I think is the better Hanzo if I had to really, if I had to pick one. So I like this setup a lot more. Yang Xiaolong is going to really struggle with McCree here against this. I think he might have to swap. If he can get up there, there's a chance this goes well for him, but on the approach versus double sniper, it's going to be very hard because he has limited range comparatively.
Pull goes through onto Roar. Going to be dipping inside for the moment. Decay giving a nice little crossfire coming in.
They already used Immortality Field.
Yeah, there was a double stun there for a second. Flashbang out from Yang Xiaolong did catch both Roar and Void as they try to stay alive. One tick going to be surrendered for free as they had to pull away.
They're just creating their own bunker on the attack.
Another stun up there. Roar gets taken down. Sure4 is able to answer one back, finds Kyo, but he himself under fire will be eliminated by Jinmu. Okay, only able to find the enemy Hanzo so far. Yang Xiaolong still here on the point, cleans up the rest.
Yveltal creates an Immortality Field that allows them to wrap around the side of this room here, create a bunker that forces the Gladiators to come to the point, which is the opposite of what their composition is designed to do. So, in that moment where the Immortality Field is there and you have that safety, you get onto the point, you set up the barrier, and in that close range when the Gladiators are like, oh no, we have to collapse on the point, we can't use our range anymore, there's no Orisa barrier in the way, that's when the McCree, in this case Yang Xiaolong, that's when he hits like a truck in close range, has a ton of protection, he's got a lot of healing, and he's just hitting people in the head, he's fanning the hammer, and suddenly he goes right up to a dead eye, and he's on the point.
I mean, the guy is just so good. He's brought out the McCree before, even when we were still in a 3-3 meta, had been bringing that pick through, and was just utterly destroying people left and right when he did have that on the board. So solid start for the Hunters again, looking like they want to have that 2-0, none of this tie-up nonsense going into the halftime. Want to just be able to roll forward onto point B with a gigantic time bank, which is what they've set up for themselves. So honestly, really great start for them. The Gladiators, are they going to be able to stabilize for this?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, remember, we talked about how on A, you're operating around snipers usually, right? The Chengdu Hunters turn that on its head by forcing the push onto the point from the Gladiators. And now that they have A and a huge time bank, Decay is going to swap over to the Genji. They want to prevent this double cap, which is absolutely doable if Yang Xiaolong is able to get a crazy flank. And they also have the ability to use that window from Yveltal to set that up.
Well, Flashbang not going to connect there onto Decay, but he's not able to get too much harassment in either onto that Genji. So we'll just be playing back around towards the center here so far. Dragon Strike through for Sure4, manages to find Yang Xiaolong, and Decay will find a kill onto Kyo. Self-destruct used by Elsa on the side. Will knock Void out of the mech with the help of Among, but otherwise unable to snag too much. We'll see if Elsa wants to swap over to perhaps the Roadhog here, now that there is a Genji to be concerned about.
I think there's certainly a chance of it. Going to remech here. The Hunters have a lot of ultimates, so I think they're going to give this one more shot before they consider swapping composition. But it's hard to force that same point fight on B that they did on A with this comp, because the high ground, there's a square high ground that wraps around the point, so you can never really feel like you're safe in a corner when you're running against this composition, especially when there's Dragon Strike out for sure for, as we saw already. But this is their best shot right now with this composition, with all these ultimates, the zoning they have, and the amplification matrix, plus the extra damage from the supercharge. I mean, this is tough to defend.
Well, Amp Matrix does come out. Deadeye still going to be held. Dragon Strike over onto the right side. Now Deadeye going to be channeled here by Yang Xiaolong, but seems like a fast cancel as the barrier is set up onto the point. Halfway to that first tick as Decay pokes in from above and gets the kill onto Among with the deflect rolling. Now the Immortality Field going to be killed off. Decay has the blade. Knows that he can just go ahead and hold it. This fight has been won, and they got a lot of ultimates out of the Hunters.
Do you never really feel like your back's to the wall on B when you're the attacking team with an Orisa? You can place a barrier one direction, but you're vulnerable in two others. You could see Decay was doing extra damage behind the barrier. Surefour was on the other side. So they put down the supercharger. They tried to brute force their way in, but it did not work out. Now they're going to stay with this composition, and now it's going to get even tougher. Dragon Blade's ready. And without, really a nice snipe kill from the Hanzo or something like that, an opening pick, it's going to be the Gladiators, it's going to be on them to mess this up. They've got all the tools to defend this next push.
Yep. I mean, getting rid of the Immortality Field and dealing with KO's Transcendence going to be the two biggest concerns for this Dragon Blade. Already one going to be used, however. And as they use the Dragon Strike to get the Immortality Field out, KO's still holding on to his ultimate. They get another Amp Matrix ready to go. A lot of damage being pushed forward onto Among, but it's actually going to be able to take it down first. Now Jinmu gone. So another wipe on the fight. Gladiators just cleaning them up. Surefour going to be taken down as Yang Xiaolong tries to make his exit, but the res is there.
Res comes through. I think it's time. Okay, I was going to say, before Jinmu spoke first, I was going to say that I think it's time to consider a swap to dive here for the Hunters, and Jinmu will grab the Genji now. We know he's very proficient on the hero. We saw it on our previous map. It's a better opportunity you have with the Genji to really come in and disrupt the backline than you do when you're running this composition with the McCree. The McCree's still strong here, but it's much better when you have that extra backline threat, so you can actually get the McCree where you want him to be.
Shots coming down for Surefour. A couple tags there onto Elsa, but nothing meaningful enough to try to break down that mech. There'll be a Dragon Strike through on the flank. It's a lot of damage in on the Yveltal, but Immortality Field is there to keep himself alive. Transcendence first going to be used by Shaz. Kyo still holding on to his, now popping it as the Dragon Blade comes in from Decay. He's looking for a target, manages to find Yang Xiaolong. It's at the cost of Shaz. Void now going to be popped out of the mech, has to use that self-destruct. Seems like he's trying to edge it off the side, but he's unable to find any kills for that one. Makes it back in safely. Now Amon going to be taking down the Immortality Field just like half a second too late. They lose that on the main tank and that supercharger that was getting ready to come up. And again, it's a retreat call for the Hunters.
They keep baiting out these Immortality Fields from Yveltal early and then following up with really nice pushes defensively. But this time they're not going to have a Transcendence, and the Blade is ready. So that's going to be the MO here for the Chengdu Hunters, to try to get in the backline, kill Big Goose or Shaz, potentially Surefour if he does get himself into harm's way. Look at the swap here. Veltal, he's using, earlier the Batiste for Immortality Field, but now he wants the speed boost to get this composition into position faster and make his blade more powerful.
Well, barrier down, supercharger as well is going to be there. Decay already taking that one out. Is playing on the flank on the left side of the squad. Gets sucked up, taking down Yang Xiaolong, finds him, but Shaz! Oh man! He gets absolutely dunked on, or dunks on Jinmu rather. Decay gets res back into the fight, the bomb is out. Elsa unable to find anything in the Dragon Strike, gets rid of the pilot form D.Va. Oh my goodness, Shaz the hero. This call from me, but nothing but beautiful play from him.
Decay is gonna look to potentially clean up here. He doesn't need to. He's threatening the Blade if the Hunters were going to contest one more time. But the headshot there from Shaz, as you say, is really good. Big plays again from the Zenyatta. We're going to take a look at this again. In the face of Jinmu's Dragon Blade, he discords early and looks up immediately. Goodbye! Such a great reactionary play from the incredible Zenyatta. One of Overwatch League's best, absolutely.
Oh, for sure. And now he's nearly got a Transcendence ready to go. The Dragon Blade is online for the Gladiators. Gonna be drawn out now by Decay as he pushes forward, looks to finish off Elsa, and they are able to do so. That Bionade really helping to ensure that. Big burst of healing there on Yveltal as he tries to live, tries to tag the point, but he's unable to do so. They get a little bit on beat, but the Hunters cannot take Volskaya.
Hunters with a very stubborn approach. The McCree, they don't swap until late. Shaz comes up big, and that's all she writes here in this first one.
47.5% is what they have to best. Gladiators looking very strong there on the defense. Let's see how they fare on the attack.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Let them out. Into the iris.
And welcome back. A successful defense there pulled off by the Gladiators, now looking to have just as successful of an attack. 47.5% set up by the Chengdu Hunters on point B, but cannot get the finish there on Volskaya.
It's a very bold choice to run the Pharah on defense. You and I were actually just talking about this earlier during our previous series, talking about why teams may or may not run the Pharah on A defenses of Assault. And it's because the attacking team has an advantage. Decay can scout this, swap over to the McCree, and it becomes a lot more difficult to run the Pharah defense. You know, and once you see the McCree come out, you can't be like, oh, I'll counter you because you're the defending team, you don't have time to go back to spawn. So once this is seen, we may see that swap. You can shut the Pharah down with the Widow. The Genji response is a little bit less standard, but it is great on this point regardless, especially against the Widow in particular. Because the Widow protects you against the McCree in a lot of ways, so it's not as easy as just countering. It doesn't work like that.
Good angle here so far for Jinmu. Completely unthreatened onto this Pharah, dropping in onto the backside. Will get tagged up a couple times there by Shaz, but now Void is going to be knocked out of the mech, so no D-Matrix to help mitigate the rockets. Raining down from above, and the Baby Diva gets finished off. Surefort does manage to pop Elsa out, but with Roar going down, is just going to have to be a full-blown reset for the Gladiators.
The ability to deal with a Pharah is very limited with the Hanzo, and as soon as Jinmu identified that they don't have long-range hit scan, he played in their faces. There's the swap now for Surefour onto the McCree. It's a little bit late, but they still have a lot of time to work with, and it's pretty much a first push fail swap, so it's not like they're being stubborn about this. They're absolutely responding. The barrage is ready. Void failed to destroy the last one. We'll see if he can better time here on our second map.
Gladiators trying to push their way up. This is just how far back bunker they have to play because of Jinmu, who now has that barrage ready. Void is nearly taken out of the mech there. Long, also taking a little bit of damage off the screen. Jinmu going to be hitting the ground, but that rocket there gets rid of Roar. Surefort just playing up here into Among's face. Tries to take him out, gets a couple headshots, but it's not enough to kill him off. Big Goose manages to get the res, but now Void loses out of the mech, which means that Jinmu might be able to find a position for this barrage to absolutely destroy the lineup of the Gladiators. Young Shalong going to be taken down, but not before getting Decay. And the res is still there for Yveltal. Still looking very good here are the Chengdu Hunters at the start of this defense.
Now the Chengdu Hunters should know the Blade is ready for this next attack. It's going to be a close call there for Amon. Risky business from Surefour. He might pay for it, but he will get away. I had to do play-by-play there for a second. That was weird.
It's fine. Go for it.
But the Blade is ready, right? So it's Blade versus Barrage here. And so Nano Boost is going to go on to Jinmu to make him much more well protected. There's also the ability to shut this down with deflect as well if Decay is in the right spot. But this is a really, really fine line that both teams have to walk right now. There's the Nano.
There, the Nano does come in and Decay taken down. Did not pull out the blade, so we'll still have that crucially, but a fantastic shot from Yang Xiaolong to get rid of him mid-dash.
I mean, poor Genjis, man. They just don't have a chance right now with all these headshots coming through. Unlike the previous blade we saw from Jinmu, though, this one will actually remain. As you say, wasn't actually able to pull it out.
Would have been incredible if that was the shutdown there from Yang Xiaolong. Fortunately for Decay, he wasn't ready for it yet.
So now the Hunters lost their barrage tool, right? So this is going to be a much more potent push. Surefour can flank with the Deadeye, potentially even just knock Jinmu out of the sky during that blade, during all the chaos.
Violent use here onto the squad, but they get the pull. And that's going to be Yang Xiaolong taking down Surefour, and Decay just absolutely melts. Absolutely just insane right now for the Hunters. He's looking at the full hold.
He's wiping sweat off his brow too. He's like, oh man, I missed the hook. If Kenji was on me, I would have been dead for sure. I was pretty sure my number was up on that one. But not actually to be the case, and this has been a much better defense for the Hunters. Yang Xiaolong's Widow, you know, we saw the Gladiators, they didn't want to run the Widow, they didn't have as much success. The Widow is dominating here, and now it's just going to be Tracer dive because they don't have enough time to use anything else to tag the point.
Yeah. They do have a self-destruct. He can buy them a little bit of space. Need to get rid of a barrier here from Among if they really want to set up any kills with that. They get the halt down. Self-destruct now coming through. Among hides around the corner. Elsa taken out of the Meccan. Yang Xiaolong does get eliminated now. Yubeltal, Elsa, Jinmu, all going to be taken down. The Gladiators trying to find it here right at the end. Seems like they might just be able to make it happen. Among still playing close. He's not on the point, however. They can only hide around the barrier so many times. Will get finished off. They get the kill there on Nikio as well. Gladiators get the cap here in OT, 3-minute bump up. Just have to beat that 47.5% to take it.
Yeah, it looks like the Hunters just want to operate on a defense here of B rather than trying to really force the issue here. Not going to be running in on a wrecking ball, no stall tactics. And with the stagger kills that came through there for the Gladiators, it's going to be very difficult to make that happen. And this is kind of how Assault works, right? You're on the brink of death, and then now you're actually favored to win because you got it in overtime, you have a decent time bank, you had to swap heroes, so you are going to have to spend some time doing some eco pushes, forcing the Hunters to use their barrage, forcing them to use the nano boost, etc., because they have the ult advantage.
Ult drags them all together, Bionade connects on a 1. Big Goose going to be using that sound barrier. The barrage still sitting here for Jinmu. Drops low, barriers up from Roar to try to keep himself alive. It's not enough even with the defense matrix. Void will get popped out, and that will be the shutdown here on the first real push.
3 ultimates used, though, for that defense, and that's exactly what you want as the Gladiators. You finish off Surefour's EMP charge as well, so he's got that for a potential initiation on this next fight. You know they're not running a Lucio, they don't have a Zenyatta, and Valkyrie is usually just simply not enough healing, even with the tethers coming through to shut down an EMP. And in fact, often you're knocked out of the sky by the EMP itself. So for the Gladiators here, they have to make a tough call. Looks like they do want to commit the EMP. Surefour is setting up for this, and everyone else is just slowly closing in. The barrier will be deleted by this.
Works his way into the back. EMP comes down. Solo onto Among. They kill up the supercharger as well. Elsa, though, not going to get hacked. Answering EMP comes through, and that is going to be 5 members of the Gladiators getting caught. Jinmu slicing and dicing his way through 1. Takes down Roar. Push back here for the moment, but has that pocket healing coming out from Yveltal, so he is still quite all right. We're down to 1 minute and 17 remaining here for the Gladiators. Can they make it happen? Deadeye comes out from Decay as Void takes a nap. He buys enough space for him to successfully and safely wake up. Pile Driver goes in, knocks up Elsa as he goes dangerously low and loses out on the mech. Among as well, nearly taken out. Will be topped back up by a nano boost from Kyo. Jinmu, however, going to be finished off. Decay just looking for the next target, finds it. Baby Diva will get taken down. Yang Xiaolong around the side, looking for a pick, but is unable to find one. Now the Gladiators are in onto the point. The first hit going to be coming through, and do they just cap it? And there's going to be no, as Elsa does manage to push forward, but the effect just does not last long. The Baby Diva receives the Deadeye. Jinmu going to be drawing out the blade, gets hacked instantly, and the bomb from Void takes down Yveltal, and that will be the cap. The Gladiators tie up the series 1-1.
Very measured play from the Gladiators there, especially Decay in the face. In his face was, you know, Among on the Wrecking Ball, Jinmu on the Genji. He just backs up, plays it carefully. Deadeye doesn't find a kill, but he gets the consistent damage through. EMP just for safety there for Surefour in the end.
Tied up 1-1. We got halftime coming up next.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's Network, T-Mobile, and by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
Let them out. Into the iris. Into the iris.
What did it take for you guys to defeat NYXL today in today's series?
I mean, it just took the meta to be DPS. I mean, we have the 2 DPS players in the world, so like.
You said you said two best DPS in the world. Are you one of them?
Well, of course, I always have been.
That was a very confident Surefour after they dethroned the NYXL in Week 1 of Stage 4. But then they went on to lose their second match in Week 1. Bren, Sideshow, today we wanted to keep all eyes on the DPS from the Gladiators in this matchup against the Hunters. So far, I need to know, what's on your scouting report?
Well, they are the 2 DPS in the league.
They're definitely 2 DPS, 2 damage dealers
Yeah,
in the league.
I mean, they make claims of being some of the best. They're certainly incredibly flexible, but they play in an interesting way. They don't necessarily play to clutch fights and have a really high impact. They like to play a little safer than most as well. Whereas Jinmu and the Chengdu Hunters in general just play all guns blazing, all out, all the time.
I mean, I will say this, over the Decay just getting absolutely obliterated, you can't question his mechanics, I think, as an individual.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's definitely one of the most talented people that we've got in the league when it comes to playing the damage dealers. His aim is on point, but the fact that he can flicks onto both a variety of hit scan and projectile rolls is unusual.
But this is what I mean about playing safe. Surefour takes these safe angles where he's spamming shields and stuff like that as the Hanzo, and it's very different to how a lot of other players play, where he'll take angles and put a lot of pressure on the enemy team. And that means that Decay's a lot of the time playing this aggressive role on his own. He still manages to find kills like that out of it.
That's an example
magical.
Of high mechanics again. Like the ability to be able to get those kills despite the fact that they're translocating.
This was so good too.
It took them a long time to be able to push through here. Like Jinmu was causing them so many problems. Decay, it took him a long time to be able to get value out of this blade. Ended up dying with it as well. But once they finally managed to push through, it was these big EMPs coming out from Surefour. And I think this DPS duo is at their best when they can use their flexibility and their intelligence to be able to beat opponents. They're not necessarily just going to out-muscle other people by making big clutch plays.
A team that, as an example, that would out-muscle different teams, probably the Vancouver Titans, I think.
Oh,
You got Hurek, who's just absolutely bopping on Widowmaker, and Haxel, who's just performing unreal maneuvers that we didn't even think were possible on Genji. So this is not that team. They're very capable of it at times, but as you said, they're a very intelligent players. Surefour is one of the most intelligent players, one of the most flexible players we've got in the league. put him on the role like he liked to play the Mei earlier in the season, doesn't so much these days.
Right.
But yeah, his Sombra as well is fantastic. He knows the hack priorities very well.
Let's look at these roles that these guys have been playing. Of course, they're both damage dealers, but they've been running a number of heroes. Here is their hero usage up to this point. It looks like Decay, he's been going with a lot of Genji in this match in particular. What do you want to see? These are our stage 4 heroes, by the way.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of Hanzo, 62%. 2% on Pharah, Mei down at 4% compared to all the other top teams.
These two heroes right now are seeming to be definitely the go-to when it comes to a lot of control maps, even essentially general maps across the board. And they're sitting at the lowest point of
the Mei and Reaper.
Right now. Yeah, a lot of teams moving away from the Tracer and the Sombra as well. They don't find value out of it. They find that it gets countered too easily by other compositions, by different sort of bunker compositions. So this is unusual to me, and maybe this is part of the reason why the Gladiators aren't seeing as much success as they used to in the past.
I would say that this kind of indicates that they really want to play to the strengths of the two damage dealers that they have with Surefour and Decay, but they're not necessarily playing the meta. And I think this is one of the reasons why they struggled against Houston, because Houston got a read on the meta really early on and found something that shut down Decay, particularly on that Genji where you can see he placed a ton of it and took him out of the game. So going forwards in this half as well, that's stuff that Chengdu can look at. Gladiators definitely have a style. It's different to a lot of other teams in the league. And if you can crack that style, you can crack Gladiators.
Well, we got a lot of teams that game plan. I do want to know, I need your official rankings. Where does this damage-dealing duo of Decay and Surefour officially land after watching 2.5 matches from these guys?
Definitely 6th.
No,
I have no idea.
Excellent.
I mean, assigning a value to it is really difficult. I think they're maybe the most flexible and versatile DPS duo that we have. Normally, you've got like one player that can't really play everything.
You think so?
Can play a bunch
New York
of
Excelsior got pretty flexible players.
With who though? You've got Libero and then
Nene Libero.
Nene, he's pretty flexible as well.
Yeah.
That Sabiobi guy
have to give you that.
plays a few characters. All right, let's talk about the second half of this match. Chengdu, of course, trying to stay in the top 12. They want to get into those season-long playoffs. The Gladiators in a much better position right now, but who pulls off the upset here? Is it the Chengdu Hunters, or is it going to be the rest of the Gladiators team rallying?
Well, I do know if Chengdu managed to take King's Row, Junkertown I'm going to put down to a coin flip, because that map is just, it's so ridiculous in terms of what it could
erroneous results.
Erroneous results, yes.
back
I
in
was about to
2018.
slip up again, but you caught me. Yeah, I mean, it could be anyone's game if Chengdu managed to even it out.
Non-answer from Bren. Where are you going with this?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Gladiators. I think they can still pull this out. I mean, King's Row, if they play the double sniper kind of comps, I think they've got the win there, and then moving into Junkertown, that kind of stuff still pretty
so
good.
much smarter.
Los Angeles fans, do you believe in your team? Sounds like it. Gladiators are the favorite, at least in this building. We'll find out if they can get the win after this.
일단 제 이 프로게이머라는 직업이 저의 첫 사회 생활이면서 첫 직업이었는데 미국에서 쭉 일하고 있는데요.
부모님들은 그냥 열심히 하라 정도? 그냥 이제 네가 할 거 일 찾았으니까 열심히 해봐라 그 정도?
하시는 것 같아요. 근데 뭐 제 입장에서는 당연히 다 부셔버리고 오겠다는 마인드로 게임 하는 것 같아요.
Welcome back. We're halfway through this series and all tied up 1-1 after the Gladiators were able to get a victory on Volskaya. So looking at the odds, keeping themselves in this fight and truly making it a series.
Yeah, you know, two completely different styles here. I think the halftime really hit it very hard when, you know, they said that, you know, it's more measured, you know, as I was saying, and a little bit more delicate, kind of more precise how Gladiators are operating around their DPS, whereas much more aggressive for the Hunters, as their style has always been, and how the style of Chinese esports has been since the beginning of time.
Very true.
Is a little bit more haphazard, but very much raw, mechanical skill slamming into the points.
Well, we do have a fair few of substitutions coming through from the Hunters. Bacon Jack going to be subbing in for Yang Zhao Long. We've been seeing a lot more of him as of late, but it will be Chichirin coming in for Among as well in that main tank position.
Yep, and
we're not done yet.
Yeah, lastly, Late Young will be in for Elsa. We don't see Late Young play all too often in, well, at least in the 2019 season. He was on the World Cup roster in 2018 with Crystal, with Gushui, and Yveltal, his teammate now.
It's been in a couple times, but like you said, it's been few and far in between when we have seen Late Young. But Kings Row will be coming up next to see who can take a lead in this series. Unless, of course, we get a draw.
Yeah.
And that'll be all settled by Escort.
That's right. Unless we have the even rarest draw.
The rarest draw of them all, the Escort draw.
Hasn't happened yet in Overwatch League. Well, you would have to expect that going into this, we're going to see a pretty weird composition from the Hunters, right? This is a very massive substitution, 3 players. The Gladiators are going to run the Mei here, the regular, you know, Hulk Hog, but the Hunters want to run Reinhardt Zarya. And they're going to have, you know, this variation with Pharah and Widow. So there's so many things to deal with right now if you're a Gladiators defender.
Yep.
And the Zarya ultimate is going to be something that takes a while to build.
You have to split your attention, but so far, it's focusing on the front line. As they will be able to find Chichirin, taking him down. Immortality Field has been used by Big Goose. Rockets from Jinmu will go ahead and get rid of that pesky drone, as people have been calling it.
It's hard to deal with the Pharah in the sky while there's also a lot of pressure from the main tank and the Zarya coming through. The Chichirin and Late Young can pressure the front, Jinmu pressures the sides. Look at this, I mean, this is actually an insane strategy.
Yeah, now barrage into the back. Mortality Field is there. Jinmu could be taking a nap a little bit late from Late Young with that bubble to try to keep him in there, but either way, has opened up a lot of space for the Hunters, who have since grabbed 2 ticks. I'm just going to be cutting back around the corner to keep himself alive. Surefour, see the Nano dropping down, looking to finish off Late Young. Will be able to get that flick headshot right at the last second, but can they still translate this into a hold on point A? Roar gets hounded down, the hammer swings come through, clean up. That Orisa, now Decay, gets the freeze in, gets rid of Keo. Still need a lot more. So run back here for the Gladiators is much further.
One of the cool things about Zarya in this composition is Zarya can put a lot of pressure on the Mei and then can bubble herself so that she will not be frozen, so the Mei has to respect that. And also you have to then deal with the rockets coming through, so the Mei has to play a lot more defensively. Dragon Strike out here defensively, but the grab is coming. Here it is.
In, yep, grab does go in. Boy taking a breather to try to stay alive. The pin comes in. He goes low, Shatter, just to ensure it. Also catches Roar in the back as well as Decay. And we'll go ahead, clean up those kills, finish off Shazam, can now get that cart rolling still. 4.5 minutes in the time bank for the Chengdu Hunters. Overall, very solid for them.
This is when everyone starts freaking out, thinking the Hunters pioneered how Pharah was played and killed goats, and now that we're in 2-2-2, it's like, oh no, Hunters are going to be the ones to bring goats back. We're going to take a look at a replay, I believe, of Decay getting slept here. Keo, yeah, setting this up here so that he actually cannot use the Blizzard. It gets canceled in animation there, so nice play. But yeah, it's kind of a cool thing to see this strategy. It's pretty revolutionary on Kings Row, and it's always been a great Reinhardt Zarya map throughout the history of Overwatch, and they are making it work here. Very specific substitutions for a specific strategy.
And Matrix out from Big Goose, upping everything that he's got. They managed to cut off they take here, so Chichirin will just be finished off by the Gladiators, allowing them to gain a little bit of control of this card. See how long they can hold it for. As Decay just trying to get Late Young there on the flank, will be able to do so to help Surefour.
Surefour now on this Reaper makes it a lot tougher to utilize this composition. I don't know if they can really stick with this much longer. They're almost to a Graviton Surge, so it feels really bad to swap off with the Zarya here. But even still, I mean, they're getting out-poked right now, and as soon as they get to the location where they can actually do that damage with the Zarya, now then they're getting burst down. by this Reaper.
Do have that grab barrage, but wall comes up, they cut off the Ryan again, but barrage into the back. For some extra kills here, Jinmu. It's a little bit of damage through, but again, Immortality Field throwing that big goose keeps everybody else safe in the fight.
And you could see the silhouette there, the edges of the defense matrix just covering him completely. So almost no rockets went through. The ones that did were blocked by the Immortality Field, as you mentioned. It's a great little corner here for the Gladiators to actually basically retake A and now operate around this choke.
Decay just spamming away the right clicks, gets rid of one. Almost had Lijiang as well.
See the rare Jinmu Mei now, as Bacon Jack swaps over to Reaper. That could be very powerful, the Reaper in combination with the Barrage, or excuse me, with the Graviton Surge, even with no Death Blossom. So Bacon Jack has some real potential here for this push, but I think this is the last we're going to see of Lijiang Zarya, one of his specialty heroes across time.
Well, they project that bubble forward onto Bacon Jack as he TPs in onto that upper platform. Immortality Field's going to get cleaned up, but Surefour manages to take down his counterpart. Now already 2 members gone on the side of the Hunters, still going to be held at bay.
This is really unfortunate for Lijiang. He wanted to set up that fight. He was delayed by Decay's wall, so he had to try to skirt around the edge to use it because he didn't want it to get the Graviton to get blocked. Then the rest of his team died before he could use it. He had high energy, up at around 60 or 70, if I remember correctly. They're running out of time here. This needs to work now, or they need to swap.
Yep, already. About to be 3 minutes gone away from that time bank. Blizzard going to be coming in. Decay, but they catch them this time, not going to have that one interrupted. Finish off one. Surefour goes into the raid form, gets back over into the Immortality Field and topped up. Get that halt through. Bacon Jack going to be gone. Surefour will be put to bed. The wall comes in. There's a heal deny over on the Yveltal, so he's got to get the heck out of there. He isn't able to do so.
That Grav does very little for the Hunters. And, you know, this is a decision they made, right? This is a predetermined strategy the coach created along with the squad. That's why Lijiang's in here. He's kind of a Zarya specialist. So, you know, he's been practicing for this. But, you know, we got to start asking the question, should they swap? I mean, they don't have ultimates here outside of the Blizzard. But they are just not going to swap. They're going to stick with what they've been practicing.
Yep, they use the wall just to get close enough to tag into the car. Barrier comes down, and there's Surefour from behind. Death Blossom comes up with 2. And he'll just get Bacon Jack there right at the end. The near wipe coming in. And we're down to 45 seconds.
You know, he did a decent amount in the beginning of that fight, but he's going to swap now to the D.Va. Only halfway to a Graviton Surge. You need this instead of the Zarya when you know you're not going to have that ultimate. The Blizzard that they have here, I mean, it absolutely can come up big, but there's so many deterrents on the side of the Gladiators, including this wall right here.
Well, Boyd is going to be out of the mix, so they go ahead and use the Blizzard. Self-destruct not able to find anything. Now looking at the freeze, but still going to be Surefour taking down 1. Death Blossom comes in, manages to find Big Goose and Roar. Both supports, now the main tank taken down. Decay eliminated as well. Team wipe completed here for the Chengdu Hunters, but they're going to have to make this final stretch in overtime, and Decay nearly has a Blizzard of his own.
That was a huge miscall by Boyd to use a self-destruct there. If he hadn't used it, he probably would have been able to avoid getting frozen. He also would have been able to potentially eat that Blizzard, but because he got frozen, it was perfect for Bacon Jack to come in there and use that Death Blossom. Got tools of their own, though, to delay this and stop it on B. Surefour not too far away from his own Death Blossom.
Double support ultimates are going to have to get the job done here for the Chengdu Hunters if they want to move into B and get that time bump up. Sound Barrier does come through first. The Blizzard going to be slammed down. Surefour has to go in, or rather Decay has to go into the ice block to keep himself safe. Halt pulls them back here into the front. As Roar is trying to stay alive. Barrier set up. Surefour nearly with a Death Blossom ready to roll. Sees Jinmu there, but can't play up into the main space far enough to try to get the kill. Goes in for the TP. He's in above them. Found and connects on the 2. The Death Blossom drops in, gets rid of the DPS 2 on the side of the Hunters, and now he's cleaning up the tanks. Lijiang about to lose on the mech. Does so. Didn't have the self-destruct to try to make his way back in, and now it'll just be clean up here. They zone them back. They hold them just in front of point B.
Picturesque for Reaper. You get the teleport behind the squad. You drop down and Death Blossom. Somehow, the Hunters are not able to identify this in the chaos. Great pressure from the Gladiators. And now all they need is to take B to take this map.
Solid stuff here for the Gladiators. Let's see if they can get it done on their attack.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
冻住，不许走！
All right, we're getting strapped in for the Gladiators attack. We're able to successfully hold back the Hunters just in front of point B.
Surefour is able to get the teleport off, you know. Feels like that's exactly how Reaper was designed to be played. It only took, you know, 1,000,002 buffs for it to actually happen in pro play. And a 2-2-2 log on top of it all. But, I mean, look, to see a Reaper teleport behind a team, drop down, and kill them with Death Blossom, even in today's meta, is quite a rarity. So Surefour makes it happen. They get the hold off of just really, again, careful, measured play. And it was the Hunters just trying to brute force their way through with the Zarya strategy once again.
Yeah. Genuinely wouldn't be surprised if Surefour said nothing personal, kid, when he teleported behind them.
Absolutely.
And dropped the Death Blossom. In fact, I think I'd be disappointed if he did not do so.
I think we could just say it was fact. It's actually canon.
Yeah,
that's exactly what he said.
Exactly what happened. Our stats team just chimed in with that one for some reason. But here we go. Playing up at the initial choke, taking their time, waiting for everybody else to join in. They put the wall up to displace the Hunters around to the left-hand side. Dropdown will come through. They get the barrier set up as Decay continues to take shot after shot from the high ground. Bacon Jack trying to find that pick, but instead it's going to be Decay finishing off the Baby Diva, now getting right up close and personal. And Will's
like, what's up? I'm up here with you.
Yeah, there's not much he can do at that point.
What's the high ground?
To find one. Big Goose does get taken down before the Ant Matrix becomes available, but Lijiang's going to get knocked out of the mech again. Roar's got a sliver of HP and pushes the opposite side of the barrier from where he wanted to be. It does get taken down. Blizzard's still going to be committed by Decay. He's going hard in the paint right now, and he's going to get the kill here onto the Baby Diva. Bacon Jack on the reapproach manages to find Surefour, but it seems like the damage is done. The point will be capped.
Close call there for Decay's feet. Don't you hate it when you get your ice wall stuck in a telephone booth? But there's no follow-up. Bacon Jack's not in range. They will push the cart around. Remember, the Hunters roster that they're bringing to this map was designed for Reinhardt Zarya. It's not really a specialized role for Chichirin, Lijiang, and Bacon Jack to run this sort of defense. I mean, obviously, they knew they were going to have to do it, but you think the other roster would be better at it. You'd expect YXL is the one you need to see.
Got the tank line all lined up here. As the whole hog does come through from Void. Gonna push them back, tries to get the kill, but is unable to finish off Jinmu. We'll take a breather. Pulls back as the wall comes up to keep them all safe. Pool not gonna have the connection that they wanted.
So the point of this shot is to illustrate how the coordination works between an Orisa and a Roadhog, where the Orisa sets up the halt, the Hog comes in with the hook, as you saw there. It's actually a really cool thing that we've got now, this two-person shot. Works great for Widow duels, works great for that coordination that we've been talking so much about here in Stage 4.
Oh, another halt there, but Hunter's operating without a Roadhog because he can't find much. Bionator's on the floor as the blade comes through for Jinmu. Has to use the deflection as Roar does get taken down. Gets the finish there on Decay. Back over onto the cart. Try to find any extra kills.
This is actually starting to look a little bit better here for the Hunters.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
Still 4 minutes, though.
This happens a lot on King's Row, where after the A take, the defending team does control this archway because it's so hard to walk through it. And because the cart takes forever and 2 days on King's Row to actually get out of that doorway, you have time to set up here. Surefour is gonna back to the Reaper here and try to, or just forcing his way to the front.
Oh, the self-destruct is out from Lijiang. Actually manages to find the pick on his Shaz. Supposed to fade, not available for him. Still, Chichirin going to be taken down in that front line. So the cart can continue to advance without that barrier to stay behind. And without able to get a res, the Hunters do have to pull all the way back towards B.
Reaper's pretty good at dealing with a Genji in close quarters too, and there's not a lot of ways Jinmu can really outmaneuver the squad in the narrow street space here of King's Row. Jinmu's getting very close to that Nano Blade, but he's gonna have to buy time with that Mercy Pocket. You know, he's already got it now.
Dashes his way through the blade, gonna be drawn out. Jinmu jumping through, looking for a target. Gets for the Big Goose. Void gonna be taking a nap, and Shaz just finishes him off. The path of healing coming through while the Coalescence rolls. Ensures his safety. Finishes off the Genji. And now again, enemy Orisa gonna be taken down by the Gladiators. Shaz, still plenty of juice here for the left clicks, just keeping everybody else topped up as they roll closer and closer. 240 remaining in the time bank. Surefour with a Death Blossom, but instead, Void will just push them away. And that will be the Gladiators moving up 2-1, making it match point in their favor.
Shaz, he shuts down Jinmu's blade on Volskaya with a headshot on the Zenyatta. He shuts it down on King's Row with the Coalescence. 2 critical defenses that put them up now 2-1 in the lead on match point.
We'll see if the Hunters stick through with this roster for what could be the final map, or if they will make changes again. We'll be finding out in just a few when we come back for Escort and see if the Gladiators can close this out with a 3-1, or if the Chengdu Hunters can again tie us up 2-2.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
One more time.
The Vancouver Titans, Stage 1 champions. The Shark have done it, Stage 2 champions. Make some noise for the current holders of the California Cup.
And welcome back. Gladiators currently leading in this series, but guys, make sure you get your tickets for the Kit Kat Rivalry Weekend. It is going to be absolutely fantastic. August 24th to 25th, it is going to come up faster than you'd think. Time's flying by in this season, so make sure you get the tickets while they're still available, because we've sold out every other one so far.
That's right. It is going to be a great experience. I mean, it is, in terms of matchups, my favorite of the 3 homestands. You have so much history, even in this year, packed into that one homestand. So, going into our 4th map here, potentially our final map, the Gladiators can continue this momentum. It's been pretty dominant after Control. You know, we are going to see some changes. We are going to see some substitutions here. Surprise, surprise. The main roster is back. We saw the Reinhardt Zarya strategy kind of fall a little bit flat against the Gladiators there on King's Row. The defense even arguably more lackluster. You want your A team in if you're going to be running more meta strategies. So this is why we are going to see the subs come back in for Escort. We'll probably see this roster for the remainder of this series, even if they're able to bring us to a 5th map of Control.
Yeah, it was a solid start with the Reinhardt coming through, but the honeymoon phase of the Ryan Zarya didn't last too long, and then things started to fall off a little bit. So did have to change it up, but we'll be just going back to the starting 6 that we saw as we get ready to go into, again, what could be our final map of this series, unless the Chengdu Hunters can tie us up again 2-2, will be Junkertown. So given that they love that chaos style, I expect this map to, potentially be a victory for them.
This is another map where that Widow matchup becomes very important. Yang Xiaolong versus Decay. Overall, Decay has been getting the better of him. Even if you look back on Control, outside of the moments where he was outclassed by Jinmu on the Genji, or caught by Kyo, in terms of that duel, Hitscan versus Hitscan, now we're going to see the Widowmaker duel, previously McCree. It's going to be Yang Xiaolong. It's really up to him, especially on the attack here, to kind of break the mold and find a flanking angle, find those kills, find those picks. And obviously he'll have his own opportunity on defense, but because they are attacking first, they're going to set the pace here. It's going to be, it looks like, for the outset of things, a mirror matchup between these two. No Roadhog, interestingly enough, on either side. You see D.Va flexed in sometimes, but to have both teams running hogless here is a bit of an anomaly.
Yeah. So it will just be that perfect mirror coming through as Yang Xiaolong looks for an angle around that flank. Pop up over the top, unable to see anything.
Very common flank angle for the attacking Widow, to try to go around the left side and then dive into the back, because he's unseen by the defensive Widow, and that's exactly why Void is standing here, because he wants to be able to call out that flank.
I mean, very pulled back defense here from the Gladiators. Should they lose a fight here, that will basically just be point A surrendered over to the side of the Hunters. Decay, however, manages to find the first kill as Jinmu gets taken down.
Void's doing such a great job of hounding Yang Xiaolong down.
And there's the Widow vision.
There you go. Perfect shot there of the duel going in Decay's favor. A lot of this is Void, though. His pressure is there. Then when you see Elsa try to chase Void down, you're seeing, Yang Xiaolong get sniped, or Decay sniping Jinmu on the Hanzo. So Decay's just got so much extra free reign here. Actually gonna try to surprise Jinmu, it looks like.
Oh! Well, Jinmu's got a surprise for him.
I think he got Sonic arrowed.
Yeah, takes him out either way. Back-to-back headshots there for Jinmu. Gets a third onto Shaz, and now Void will get knocked out for that team wipe. And like I said, playing that far back, you get wiped once, that is point A gone.
You lose ground and you lose that control of sight lines on A.
Vengeance!
Vengeance indeed. You lose control of that sight line advantage once the cart starts to roll closer, because you don't have that distance advantage anymore. And he was trying to peek. Speaking of trying to peek, he does it again. That's the third attempted peek in a row that's going to cost him his life.
Yeah, just back and forth with these Widowmakers. They do have the res, so Decay still going to be in the fight. And for Sight, out for both of them. Dragon Strike going to be tossed in. Shaz taking damage from that all-plus Elsa. Means that he does go down. Self-destruct just going to be using and make his way back into the back, but now Short Board going to get picked off by Jinmu. Nearly gets pulled off that high ground. Goes short for him. He keeps himself safe. The Dragon Strike comes through. Both aiming for these Zenyatta's. Kyo will use that Transcendence. The card is rolling forward. Two members going to go down. Both damage dealers on the side of the Hunters get picked off. The card is still moving.
The card is moving, but for how long?
Over here. He's dead now. And finally, two managed to stop it in its tracks. As the Transcendence comes in, Kyo gets finished off.
This is so Chengdu to just never relent, never regroup, just take these scrappy fights.
Move around the side of the barrier. Rez comes through from Yveltal, and he finishes off Shaz. Actually pistols him in the head.
The cart was moving for a long time there, but they never regrouped. So, now the Hunters, they're going to have to full regroup with everyone, and there's going to be this huge window of time where the Gladiators can set up a great defense with sightline control with a double sniper. This is how Junkertown's been played forever, as a recent double sniper. And, it always works this way. If you lose control of these chokes, it's a really bad time as the attacking team. You often just get sniped as you poke. They have to use the barrier early, it breaks, and now they're dropping down. Jerfor with the greedy flank here.
He's gonna set up for the Dragon Strike, spots out Kyo. Just kind of tickling the shields there of the Zenyatta as Roar gets pulled down off that high ground. Transcendence now going to be online. Self-destruct on the way for Elsa. Supercharger is there from Roar. Takes a lot of damage. See, waits for that next barrier to become available. Push over to the side. Elsa helps keep Yang Xiaolong alive, keeping him in the fight as Void down here all by his lonesome will get finished off.
Actually, the Hunters playing pretty careful as they move around here and punish some of the overextensions from the Gladiators.
Big Goose actually does manage to get the res back in, but now Decay gonna get picked. So Long comes up with another headshot there. Push forward, Elsa gonna get melted out of his mech, but again has a self-destruct to get resuited. Big Goose will finish off Yang Xiaolong, but Jinmu punishes him for that one. The cart rolls into B. 3 minutes 40 seconds as the gate opens. Gladiators, can they stabilize? Because right now the Hunters are playing pretty concisely.
It's pretty important too that he gets the res onto Yang Xiaolong, because now Yang Xiaolong can actually take the center stage of this Widow duel here, either around this mobile platform or in the center of the what we call main, right, where you're kind of in the main section. As you can see, he is right now on the high ground, just straight facing point C.
Supercharger down, barrier doesn't stand a chance. Decay manages to find one. He's looking for Yveltal, and with the help of Surefour, they will be able to get him. They do lose out on their own mercy. Decay shuts down Jinmu, wraps around the bottom side, gets that mega pack. Pop up over the top looking for an additional pick here. Some extra stagger, but is unable to find it.
He wants to make sure he can control that central sight line. Surefour is going to take the flanking angle here on this mobile platform. Makes it very difficult to aim, but it also makes you a little bit, it's a little bit easier to hide behind that central, whatever you want to call that thing, the big spire, pillar. Decay has got full control right now.
Yep. Great shot from him. Now gets Jinmu, the res already burned, and Decay just gets rid of Kyo. Again, Yang Xiaolong does manage to shut him down at long last, but the damage has been dealt. The Chengdu Hunters, it's very difficult for them to continue to play forward. Pull through does come in. Dragon Strike cutting off the retreat angle here from the tanks. And Yang Xiaolong, he's looking down. Surefour gets that shot with the Storm Arrows. Takes him out.
He keeps trying to take control of the center by killing Decay and then trying to take it back. But the problem is that that's one kill. And while the rest of the team is dying around him without that pressure, he's not going to live very long. He gets that control for a brief moment and then it's taken away.
I just really love the synergy right now that we're seeing between Surefour and Decay. Surefour sits at the body shot, Decay comes in, rescues him.
And Roar all the time too is helping to set these up with the halts. So the Hunters are kind of trapped here, right? They can't go through the center, they can't flank, because there's no way to, so they just have to kind of walk out and take that damage.
Side up for both of these Widows.
Yang Xiaolong's flanks have been so predictable because he's done it so many times in a row now that he just can't even use it anymore. He's taking a long way around because, you know, he's not going to be able to poke the other way anymore.
He needs to get in behind a shield, really. You can see right there, Among pushes out, goes just beyond the barrier, and Decay is ready for it. Double tap, just goes ahead, gets rid of that Orisa. Poison trap is set up, they spot out Yang Xiaolong over on the right-hand side still. Don't have to be too concerned about that flank, and Jinmu is also spotted. You can see this forward scouting doing wonders here. Decay is going to continue to be able to focus on one side.
Shaz is going to shut down this Dragon Strike, but this is still the Hunter's best shot. They have trans of their own.
Self-destruct there into the front. Jinmu going to be taken down as well as the Supercharger. Transcendence unable to keep him alive. Decay gets rid of Yang Xiaolong, but again, one of the DPS comes back up, the other goes down. Decay manages to find that snipe. Elsa will be able to punish him with the Dragon Strike out from Surefour, manages to take down Kyo, and Elsa will lose out onto the mech here on the high ground.
Hunters had every advantage, and they squandered them off of the fact that Void knew that they were playing too far forward. He gets the self-destruct kill. You see Surefour come in with a Dragon Strike. They were not disciplined enough to take those small advantages and push forward. Now they've lost line of sight again. Yang Xiaolong's going to have to do a risky flank, and it may be the last one for him on this attack. If he dies, he's going to have to make something happen. He's going to have to grapple.
The barrier is set up. Yang Xiaolong going to be taken down. Now Yveltal gone. No chance to res him back in. Elsa finds one with the self-destruct. They managed to force out the tag here into OT, but Decay is still clicking heads in the back. Cart will start advancing here as Decay tries to hunt for this Zen in the back. As the body shot takes him low. Transcendence forced out now by Shaz, the nano boost thrown forward as well. Here on to Void as he tries to stay alive on the cart to keep things contested. Rez is there, the Hanzo is back. Dragon Strike gonna be tossed in. Before a pick, unable to find it. Void gonna be knocked out of the mech, uses that self-destruct. Is unable to edge it off the side. cannot find a pick.
They've got the high ground, the snipers, and they've got this ultimate out. He actually has the infra sight. He can see them all. They have the positional advantage here. Jinmu's just going to poke across the edge. If they can kill Decay, they may be able to finish this.
Getting closer and closer. You can see the Gladiators, they want to wait for Roar to come back in, but somebody's going to have to tag, so Void starts pushing forward. Decay manages to find one. Jinmu going to be taken down. Can they get the res is going to be the question. So far, the answer is no. Sure, gone. Decay, oh boy, push right back into that self-destruct, gets popped. Void's out of the mech, now Roar gonna be gone. It's just on the support to try to last. Big Goose right up here into the front. Shaz manages to find one, but as they clean up the Lucio, the cart will glide into the finish.
Yeah, it's a miracle, it feels like. The Hunters are able to finish this in overtime. The crazy bomb coming out from Elsa. High ground control wasn't enough there at the end for C. When they finally got it, Decay was still out sniping them on the low ground with all the pressure from the front line in his face as well. Guy's an absolute monster on Widowmaker. It was actually, the funny thing about Decay is when he was playing in Korea, he was considered one of the weaker Widowmaker players at the time. He's actually come so far since then, since the sniper meta in Korea, and is now one of the best ones we have here, and is going toe-to-toe and crushing oftentimes Yang Xiaolong. So impressive stuff to see the transition. To take a look at Among's ult here.
Yeah, back in the end.
Pulling them into the self-destruct. No miracles really in Overwatch. There's always an explanation.
Yep. Really love the ragdolls that we have, though. They're top-notch. That when somebody gets sent into orbit through the skybox, it's always fantastic. But a good push here for the Hunters. They guarantee either a win on this map or some overtime rounds to then try to pick up the victory.
I think it's a really big, you can see a snapshot of the mentality of the Hunters by looking at the heroes they've selected here. Normally, you always want to have a Widow on point A of this map. Challenge the attacking Widow. You should be able to outplay them. They're going to be the ones who have to flank, just like we saw previously. But after Decay just absolutely stomped on that attack, they don't feel comfortable enough. They don't feel confident that even with sightline advantage that they could take him out and be Widow. So they're going to swap over to Dive here. Among on the Wrecking Ball. Genji Sombra.
Dive on the defense, always quite risky.
Big Goose is going to respect it too with this Brigida swap, the rare one coming through to have that extra stun potential on these damage dealers.
Yeah, it's all a bit of it, week one coming through from a couple different support players, but has been a bit more lacking here in week two. Among is going to get frozen up, taken down. And these are the dangers of playing the Wrecking Ball, especially with that attacker's advantage when you're this close to the spawn room. Can very easily jump on that bay.
He was on the roof. His positioning was so predictable that they just kind of waited for him, split, froze him. They had the flashbang ready there as well. Sure didn't even need it, but he had that potential there. This is such a great counter composition to what the Hunters are running.
The thing is, no matter what, when they're running the Wrecking Ball, they will come to you. So if you got that May, you can set up that play. Pile Driver comes in, pops up a couple, but Jinmu and Yang Xiaolong both are already eliminated. So it seems like it might just be an extremely fast push forward into A for the side of the Gladiators.
Yeah, this
not messing around, that's just going to be it.
This just did not work out whatsoever for the Hunters.
They swapped to the double sniper, so yeah. Okay,
You've got
we'll
to.
go to the Orisa.
You've really got to, especially when you go in here, you have even less potential to use the Wrecking Ball and dive around these awkward staircases, right? The Wrecking Ball, if he misses his Pile Driver, he's just going to fall to the floor. It's very difficult to utilize Wrecking Ball here against the setup the Gladiators had. They'll also scout this, swap their heroes back to more normal here. No sniper though, just the Mei, because they have Blizzard almost online.
Well, TP going in for short forward, gets himself up here onto the high ground, but already gets forced into the Wraith Walk. Will peel back. Roar going to be taken down. Xiaolong finds a nice headshot to go ahead and get rid of him. The Blizzard going to be thrown down onto the floor by Decay. He's got a sliver of HP remaining, but manages to freeze Elsa just on the outside of that radius. Will get popped out, taken down as Void finds two with the self-destruct. Still Surefort looking to go ahead and finish off Elsa, gets him with a melee shot, and then will be the cart continuing the roll.
Yep. So making almost record time here. Decay swaps over to the Genji. They want to be able to stop this contest coming through. Was going to be a double sniper contest, but he actually swaps over to the McCree here for the extra burst potential at close range, which could be great against the Reaper. We've been talking about it a lot. throughout this evening. They're going to have one more shot at this. No blade, just the raw Genji power.
He's in above them, and that is going to be Jinmu losing out on the Dragon Strike. Void takes that away with a D-Matrix. Surefour finds the Baby Diva, and ensuring no chance of a remake. And then we'll just chunk down Amon. Cart just a couple meters left to go. The pocket healing is there. They're trying to keep everybody alive, but Surefour doesn't care.
It's almost as if, you know, Elsa was piloting that self-destruct. I mean, the angle on that was insane. He basically curveballed it around, but it doesn't matter because the response is so good from Roar. Everyone on the Gladiators is able to get exactly where they need to be, right behind his shield. So as cool as the self-destruct is, it's just not able to secure kills. Decay during all the chaos builds up 70% of a Dragon Blade too. Things are looking more and more dire for the Hunters by the moment.
Surefour just going to be looking for his opportunity. We saw the TP into the back, drop down into Death Blossom on King's Row. Can he set it up again? Goes up here onto the high ground, drops down. There's the Death Blossom. Young Xiaolong taken out. Kyo dead as well. Knockout here onto Elsa's mech seems inevitable as that defense matrix will expire. He'll just go ahead and look to finish him off. Keep that cart rolling. Don't waste any time. Still 4 minutes, 5 seconds remaining for these guys. They're going to swing all the way around the final bit of this corner.
There's no immortality field for the Gladiators, so Jinmu should be able to delay a little bit here with this Dragon Strike and set up a better defensive position for the Hunters. They should be able to recontrol high ground here with this in main.
Dragon Strike tossed up through. And Decay, oh man, he thought he was safe, but in fact does get taken down. Very nice pick off there.
That's so
delays that
unfortunate.
Dragon Blade even further. Void manages to find one. No chance at a res here. As I say it, though, actually, will just be blessing of Eltol as he does manage to get the res off here on Lijiang Tower, but can he get some follow-up kills? Roar going to be taken down first and foremost, but Surefour now finds Kyo just a 1% away from that Transcendence, which they would love to have to deny the damage from this Dragon Blade, but instead, the King manages to pick up 2 plus a Supercharger. He's looking for that Mercy as he dodges around. One final shot would get it, but he makes his way into the spawn room, stays alive. In the meantime, Elsa gets knocked out, and the cart continues to roll forward. Hoop back there onto Among. They get dangerously close. The Transcendence going to be out from Kyo. Divotal will get hounded down by Void. Coalescence is out, keeping Big Goose topped up. Weakening Jinmu, looking for the kills. Among goes back in. Surefour rejoins with the Tracer. 0.93 meters left. Elsa makes his way back in. Jinmu up into the air with the uppercut, but Decay dashes through, cuts him out. They knock out Elsa, and now it's just Young Xiaolong trying to stay alive. Yveltal trying to pocket this Tracer. They dash around, the bomb goes through. They zone him back just long enough. The Gladiators roll through to the end.
12,000 damage for both DPS players on the side of the LA Gladiators. Insane dash resets there for Decay, just showing how you can basically crush an entire team by yourself when they are trying to respawn. They're coming in one by one. You've always got a dash reset. You're always flying. Almost got a second blade through that push. This is an insane time lead now.
Now Gladiators do not want a game 5. They want to close it out. Let's see if they can do so when we come back. And here we go, straight back in. 1 minute on the clock for the Chengdu Hunters. Need to go the distance with that because the Gladiators, they have 3 minutes and 32 seconds. They will be starting on the defense, of course. Let's see how they fare. Double sniper coming back in.
Well, we're finally going to get to see Roadhog here from Elsa. And the Hunters have to, again, use this Roadhog to help pressure the front so that Yang Xiaolong can get those flanking angles on the Widow. And right now, Decay has better line of sight. Again, Void is checking. Void has that flank angle guarded, the main one.
And again, this is a far back play for the Gladiators on this defense, but Yang Xiaolong going to be taken out. That does force the res.
Void called that too because he's tracking him nonstop. He's like, he's popping up. Decay's like, I got you.
Manages to find the shot. Or getting weakened. That's going to be Void knocked out. Pull him through. He will be able to retreat to the other side of the barrier, but whether or not he can get back into the mech in time before he loses his life is another question. Among still bringing up that cart. Roar tries to get the pull here on the Jinmu. He'll go down to 68 HP. Careful pushing forward, trying to finish him off. Void now going to be eliminated before he can make his way back in. Decay got that infra sight up, but can he get the pop off? He's hovering on the high ground at the moment, but Shaz going to be taken down now. Roar gone, the front line dismantled from the side of the Gladiators. Big Goose pushes forward. He's got no barrier to play around. Will just be eliminated as Surefour gets pulled in, taken down, and that will be point A grabbed by the Hunters.
So just better play from the tank line from the Hunters. I mean, they had some trouble keeping their damage dealers alive, but it was the halt hooks coming through from Among and Elsa that really helped break up the front line, keep this cart rolling, and give Yang Xiaolong the final opportunity to add that extra damage in here. And also the Gladiators didn't really get the greatest setup ever here on B. This is a lot of free distance right now that they will likely not have on their attack run. They have a bigger time bank, but this is actually starting to get a little bit worrisome.
I mean, do we get a repeat of our last series on Havana?
I mean,
I love start with a minute and go all the way to the end.
Decay has Infrasight out, so there's just no way he's going to peek.
Well, Yang Xiaolong is very well aware of that, as you say, so will not be poking his head out at all. Dragon Strike buys them a lot of space for this cart to roll up. They are nearly here into B. The Gladiators have been playing all the way back this entire time. Both support ultimates coming in. Surefour manages to find one as Elsa goes down to the Dragon Strike. Supercharger going to be gone. The res comes in from Yveltal. Putting that Hog back into the mix of things. Now Roar going to be taken down. Shaz eliminated. Decay gone. They might actually be able to do it. I think they have. Bomb is out. Manages to find two. So Void tries to turn it around. Big Goose gets a res. Void getting pocketed back in, trying to keep that mech. The cart continues to advance. Among sitting forward. Do they contest this one?
Unfortunately, the res is on to Shaz. They just don't have enough damage.
Now Roar comes back in. Gets the pile
However,
driver. Kyo gonna be eliminated. There's no supports now. This is a winnable fight for the Gladiators. Just need to try to turn this one around. Among gonna be taken down by Void. Another pile driver coming in. Elsa rejoining. Gets knocked away. Gets taken down. OT gonna start bleeding away very rapidly. And there it is. They actually managed to turn it on its head. They stop the cart just in front of B.
Chengdu's fans should definitely be feeling pretty good about the distance they were able to get with just 1 minute on the clock. The Gladiators, if they have the struggles on, you know, when you get to A, right, you can make two choices if you're the team that's dying while defending A. You can either try to contest and then stop them on A, or you can make the decision to let them have a step back and set up for a defense of B, which is right where the Hunters got halted. If they are able to, if the Hunters are able to give up A and operate around those choke points leading into the second part of the map where you go around that curve heading into B, right where this cart is held, then there's a real chance that the Hunters could hold this for 3.5 minutes. It's going to take at least a minute to hit A. And as long as they could full hold A, but let's just rule that possibility out, right? If they're able to give up A and then get a better control of that zone with a double sniper defense, this is absolutely winnable. Easier said than done, but I just wanted to lay that condition out there that there are two struggle points for the Gladiators on this attack. They're going to struggle in the Widow attack because the Hunters are not going to run defensive Genji this time. It's going to be the Widow duel, and then they're going to struggle past A as long as the Hunters don't get staggered there. So let's see how this goes if Decay can find those flank angles.
Pushing up, Decay around the right side. Sees that barrier. And is unable to line anything up. Yang Xiaolong is over on the left side, waiting patiently to flank out and also trying to see if Decay is going to come popping over that wall. So far, not going to happen. Comes around the side, Decay nearly getting shot. Now well aware of where YXL is. Surefour finds the first one as Jinmu gets taken down, but Roar taken out to equalize. Res going to be used on both.
Almost feels like a 5v6 with how scared Yang Xiaolong is playing. He's showing so much respect to Decay.
Gets right up over top of him. Looks for the left click spray down, but Orb Harmony comes through onto him. Still, Decay manages to find the body shot in air, but he cannot get rid of that enemy Widow yet.
This is an attack Widow destroying a defensive one, but now Yang Xiaolong's lost sightline advantage. He's got to back off. He's got to set up for this contest on A. He's dead.
And yep, Decay keeps playing that angle.
They can buy some time here, but they do not want to contest for A because remember, they have to set up for the B snipe. There's a res, there's an opportunity here, there's a chance.
Oh, but
denied.
Oh man, as long as it took for him to channel that res, it was about how long he had to last. As Among will also get popped. Bull comes through onto Elsa, sliver of HP remaining on that mech. DK will get taken down as Jinmu pushes around the corner. Got short 4 as well.
Yang Xiaolong is rushing back to see if he can control this A spawn. This is very risky what the Hunters are doing.
Jinmu is still playing the same flank. Surefour didn't know about it. He just comes right back out that building and takes him down again. Both.
Trance out for Shaz. This could actually cost them the map. If the Hunters fail to defend this A, they need this. They need this point right now.
He uses it. The supercharger is in. Now going to be taken down. Jinmu uses the Dragon Strike over onto the cart. Among still trying to play forward. Roar dips in, gets behind the barrier. Dragon Strike from Surefour though. Takes down 2. Bomb out from Elsa, gets rid of Big Goose, but Kyo gets finished off.
And this is what I was talking about. If you fail the contest on A, you're not going to be able to set up for B. Yang Xiaolong is the only one who has sightline control. But look at the Gladiators spilling in. Surefour gets the kill. High ground belongs to Los Angeles right now. And the Hunters, they took the risk. They failed the defense, and now they have absolutely no control over this final zone.
He's getting spicy. He's pushing up right into their faces. Sees Elsa, says, you know what? Maybe I don't want to play here.
The Hunters cannot even go out on their own defense. They cannot defend because they cannot poke out. They cannot peek against the snipers.
It's still 50 seconds for the Gladiators as they start swinging around the corner.
They're sitting ducks here. They have Infrasight. They've got one chance here.
Besides out, everybody else is still bringing up the card. Jinmu starts pushing forward, but takes a lot of damage. Now has to peel back, get some healing. Void's gonna be using the self-destruct, throws that one into the back. Jinmu just hiding behind the truck. Keeps himself safe, and Kyo uses that Transcendence. Shot goes through there on Yang Xiaolong, takes him low, but Decay could not get the headshot. Surefour around the corner, waiting for it. Throws on the Sonic Arrow, knows exactly where he's playing at. Still has to be careful. Transcendence used now by both of these Zenyatta's. Gonna be expiring as that one gets taken down. Void goes for it, trying to disrupt the positioning of Yang Xiaolong, but he just kites around the side. Still on the high ground, still maintaining control there.
The flank from Jinmu!
Jinmu coming in, Jinmu's in the back as you say, Shad gets taken down. Now there's no Surefour. The res comes in, Big Goose manages to bring him back into the fight, but they lose out on the main tank. Surefour finds one as Yang Xiaolong gets taken down. The Dragon Strike tossed in to try to finish off Decay. Big Goose gone, Surefour gone, the res is there, Void is out, and they have done it!
Jinmu with a huge play!
OT! It bleeds away. The Chengdu Hunters come out on top on Junkertown.
I've got actual goosebumps here, Achilleos, from that flank from Jinmu. What a play, a huge risk. Absolutely crazy. I cannot believe it. He turns this around.
We are not done yet. The Chengdu Hunters not going down without a fight. They will take us to a game 5.
Pass into the iris. Pass into the iris.
Nerf this! this. Nerf this.
And here we go. One more map to settle the series. The Chengdu Hunters extend us into a map 5. So another round of control to try and decide it all and figure out who the winner is going to be.
It was not Yang Xiaolong who controlled that final stretch. The overtime we saw on Junkertown, it was actually Jinmu. He has a crazy flank, gets behind the enemy squad. And Yang Xiaolong will actually be substituted out for Bacon Jack. We talked earlier about how we thought if this did go to control, we would not see any substitutions. But you could see how mentally, you know, boomed, as they say in esports these days, that Yang Xiaolong was against Decay. He was not playing aggressively. He had sightline advantages, but wouldn't peek. And Decay had his number. And sometimes when you're at that mental state, it's better to sub out. And Bacon Jack's hero pool is a little bit different. It's a little bit more flexible than Yang Xiaolong's. Yang Xiaolong's pretty hit scan focused. We know Bacon Jack could potentially play the Reaper as we head into our final map here. But it's insane that we end up in this situation, given how dominant the Gladiators looked on those last 3 maps. Even the final map there, the 4th map they lost, they had a much better time bake, and yet still the Hunters, who lost control of sightlines on B, they were able to bring it back. I cannot believe it.
Well, Busan will be the decider here. We'll see who comes out on top, who is going to be able to take away this win. Gladiators trying to avoid that play-in tournament, trying to stay within the top 6. And see, fairly even as far as historical record here goes, but it's 2-2-2 now.
2-2-2 indeed. It looks like the Hunters want to put Bacon Jack on the Widow, at least initially here. This is mecha base where Reaper May is very common. And it's kind of a situation where if Surefour and crew get on the point first, they're going to have a great time dealing with the Widow because they'll be able to put him behind a bunker wall. But if Bacon Jack picks anyone on the approach, then the Reaper strategy starts to really lose value because you don't have control of the chokes that you want to dominate as Reaper.
Bacon Jack just going to be looking for those shots.
6-2 record for the Hunters in map 5s.
Pretty good. 2-0 for the Gladiators. Somebody going to be adding a loss on the tally. Goes through Bacon Jack on a little bit low. Will pull back. Oh man, almost had that full charge headshot there on the Decay. Took him dangerously low. Cannot finish him off. Boyd now woken up. Bacon Jack saying thank you very much for the high ground. Trying to land a shot. He's been able to, unable rather, to do so far. As Roar will go off the side, it seems.
Jinmu's pressure gets him the first control of the point, but they're not going to hold it.
Does get pushed off here.
Well,
they might be able to do this. Uppercut there on the Big Goose. Weakens him, but he still manages to take down Yvetel. And Kyo now going to be gone, so no support available here for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. As that nano boost did become available. Among goes in with a pile driver. Surefour punched over to the side, but still going to be all right. Still has that rate form as well. In case he gets in the dire straits. Instead, will just be able to left click down Among. They delay for a little bit longer, but it seems like this flip is going to be inevitable in favor of the Gladiators.
The question is now, does Bacon Jack swap, or will he stay with this Widow, who can find ways to get an angle if you take the long way around, and then try to find a surprise line of sight onto, you know, basically anyone in the back can get the supports you can poke at Surefour. But the safer flat path is to either match the Reaper or swap over to something like a Sombra. When you're running the, what we like to call the hack fist, it can be quite strong against the Reaper. You can get those hacks off.
Well, right now hovering in the back, set up onto the high ground here are the Gladiators. Manages to hack Big Goose and Decay, loses the Blizzard. Elsa snatches that one up. The Supercharger as well going to be gone. Meteor strike through, tries to finish off Shaz with the help of Kyo. Getting that left click in, will be able to do so. Self-destructively forced out now by Boyd as he tries to stay alive. Elsa stacking his bomb on top. And that's going to be 3 members taken down on the side of the Gladiators. Nice block is here. Jinmu just waiting with the punch. Knocks him to the side, uppercut in. Decay still getting the right clicks. Weakens Jinmu, but cannot finish him off. Bacon Jack will take him down. Big Goose is actually going to be using the sound barrier.
They really just want to have this advantage here. They know they're fighting against this EMP for the next attack, so they want to maximize control meter, and this is working very well for them. They only get up to about 67% here, but this worked pretty well, and they're actually going to get it even a little bit more, maybe like 71. But the EMP is going to be the next big thing. They know that the sound barrier, in theory, yes, could have saved it there. They have it for the EMP. But I think building a more control meter is going to be better because you know you're very likely to lose this EMP fight regardless. So you want to have that extra percentage buffer. Once this EMP is gone, you've got a much better chance to retake.
The EMP comes out, manages to hit 5. Big Goose not clipped by it, so if only he had a sound barrier. I'm just kidding. But cleanup is there. Chengdu Hunters. It's going to be holding this. I mean, they got 5 ultimates right now.
I have to say, looking back at this, it's a little bit less clear as to whether that was the right move for Big Goose, but I feel like it was, in his mind, the right move to make because they might have been able to keep control and they got so much out of it.
It's a
but
high-pressure situation, but I still think that it was a major overcommitment, but that's hindsight, perhaps being 2020. Hard to say what he was feeling in the moment. Either way, Seismic Slam goes forward, trying to knock Void out of that mech. You can think a lot more than that, but Chengdu Hunters now in the lead. Sound barrier comes out. Jinmu feeling free to play quite far forward, tries to get the execution on the shots. He's unable to find it, has the Meteor Strike for the bailout, drops back in. Chaz fades away, gets the Coalescence up to try to stay alive, and Roar is able to zap Jinmu to death as Elsa gets knocked out of the mech. Back over onto the point though, 95% in. Pile Driver is there, Roar getting popped up, going low. Try to keep him topped up. I think they might just be able to do so. Amon going to be taken down. Gladiators looking for the flip. Decay nearly has that pulse bomb ready. They get it back into their favor.
Big Goose is going to have the second sound barrier here now. And the ultimates the Hunters had to defend that with were not actually that impactful, right? You know, Meteor Strike, not that great. But now they've got an EMP. EMP versus sound barrier here, once again, a big issue for the Gladiators. And Big Goose is just a little bit too far away. He's going to have to hope that hits after he builds it, but this is going to be razor thin, this timing window.
I mean, they use that aggressive sound barrier to try to go on the offense. Instead, it costs them. Now the EMP comes through, manages to hack out 3, including Bacon Jack, who cannot answer back with an EMP of his own. Roar pops the primal range. Gonna push them off the point here. We are into overtime. Kyo gonna be taking down the sound barrier now, out from Big Goose, and the bomb from Elsa is unable to find anything, but he makes it back into the mech. Okay. Trying to get the kill there onto Jinmu. A sliver of HP remaining for him. Can't quite finish him off, but now Roar gonna be taking down the flip, coming back in. They come back through. Bacon Jack gets the hack onto 3. The flip is there, but now he's gonna be taken down. Elsa knocked out of the mech again. Big Goose pile driven. Void popped out. Pulse bomb from Decay, manages to find one. The OT ticking down. Gladiators make their way back over onto the point. Decay comes crazy. Decay taking out. He's looking for a little bit more, but now they have the sound barrier shield coming out from Yveltal to try to keep the fight going on. Spraying them down. Surefour manages to find one. They're off the point. The flip starting to come back in. Surefour follows up. Gets the shots there on the Bacon Jack. Gladiators looking for the flip. Nearly have it. Will knock Elsa out of the mech for the umpteenth time in this fight. EMP out from Surefour. Hacks Among. OT bleeds away. And the Gladiators, I don't know how they did it, but they get that first round through.
I'll tell you how they did it. Decay comes in. Speedy Tracer. He's just trying to buy time on the point. Tracer is the fastest hero you get back to the point with as a damage dealer, right? As a DPS player, he gets in there, does insane amounts of damage while also keeping the point contested, builds a pulse bomb, gets a pulse bomb kill, survives, builds enough damage to get a second one there, and all the while Surefour is getting the last part of that critical EMP. Insane stuff here. Watch this happen. Decay lives with 6 health, recalls, hits the pulse.
Oh my goodness!
Onto Jinmu. Look at the way he hit that pulse. That helped keep him alive long enough there.
Oh man, Decay, all right.
This is their chance to close this series out. It has fallen away from them. It certainly had, but now they've got a chance to take it back.
Well, perhaps anticipating the Doom Fist here, Decay is on the McCree.
It's going to be great against the Tracer.
Exactly. Maybe a blessing in disguise in that fashion, but he does get taken down. Pile Driver comes through, a lot of CC. Kyo set up with the orb. Manages to find the kill. Now Surefour going to be gone. So Chengdu Hunters flexing here at the beginning of the second round. Trying to ensure that they can take us to a third and final one to settle it on downtown. But still, point unlocked Hunters will finally be able to net this one.
Unfortunately for Decay, even though he was running the McCree there and had, you know, the answers for stuns right, I mean, there was so much dive coming through and he was so far away from the rest of his teammates, there was no way to peel for him. Looking at the approach angles here for the Tracer and the Sombra, you can see the flank for Surefour here, where he's threatening the back line.
Hack out onto Big Goose. The pile driver going to be coming through. Among into the back line, sets up the kill. It's going to be an exchange to the Lucio, so and the Gladiators actually trade up. They get the back cap coming in as they take down Jinmu simultaneously. Now Keo going to be gone. Well, seems like Gladiators might just be able to hold this. A very fast flip, only 20% set up for the Hunters as Elsa. Well, he's going to get staggered. You still generate percentage even if it's being contested.
Yes. Okay, so for the Hunters now, they're about to have EMP. They're going to have it in just a moment. Shaz can kind of deal with that with Coalescence, but it's going to be so difficult, especially because the DPS players on the side of the Gladiators, if they're hacked, they're useless. Surefour and Decay aren't going to be able to do a whole lot. They're not going to be able to survive against all the damage coming through. Big Goose doesn't have Sound Barrier, so really the best option is just to play defensively, sit back.
Well, Gladiators, they're going to go aggressive here as Void uses that self-destruct. We'll be able to make it back into the mech, but now Roar going to be hacked out, doesn't have the Primal Rage anyway, so we'll get burnt down. Big Goose finds Jinmu. Still trying to make this fight work for them. Decay going low, comes back in with a recall, but the Pulse Bomb going to be taken away by Elsa. Not this time. That's Matrix just goes ahead and noms that one up. Decay still skirting around the edges of the fight.
Buying so much time here.
Yeah, trying to keep things rolling, but will finally get taken down. Elsa forced out of the mech, just going to be edging that bomb off the side. Will not be able to find a pick, but gets back in safely as the Chengdu Hunters look to get this flip.
All right, all eyes on Evoltel here. He's going to have to hit this barrier when Surefour gets back.
The Primal Rage is in. They're still going for this fight. The flip is not there.
Evoltel gets caught.
Evoltel's going to be taken down, as you say, cannot use that sound barrier. Big Goose as well, however, will get hounded down by Jinmu. Roar drops the bubble, trying to keep himself topped up. Jinmu going to be farming a little bit for him, takes him low down to 112 HP. Roar still playing forward, but Keo, he pulls out the Coalescence and manages to take him down. Hack goes forward here onto Surefour, gets the reload in. Going to be looking to try to take down Among, but the minefield comes in. He will get finished off. Now Shaz going to be gone. Kane going low. Don't think he has a recall. Hack is there on the Void. Will not be able to use that self-destruct to get back in.
This is a massive pendulum swing in favor of ult economy for the Hunters. They were able to turn this fight despite losing so many exchanges there on the ultimates, Evoltel getting hacked, etc. I'm not going to go into all these specifics, you saw it, but now they have the EMP, no barrier.
4 members going to be caught by the EMP here from Jinmu. They need the follow-up kills to come through, however, so far no one going to be taken down. In fact, it's going to be Bacon Jack. They trade one back. Void now going to be hacked out, so no D-Matrix ready to be used here. Decay uses the Pulse Bomb, and Elsa going to be knocked out of the mech. Decay follows up another one as Evoltel gets taken down. Elsa going to be deleted. Shaz hacked here for the moment, but it's back in favor of the Gladiators. Looking to close this out with a 2-0. What can the Hunters do? Can they even tag onto the point? No, they cannot. The Gladiators, very much on the back of the K's insane Tracer play, come out on top. They take this series.
Absolutely nuts play from Decay on that final map. And they won this map. Given the, I mean, look, Hunters had EMP available. They had their own sound barrier. They hit the EMP, and still the Gladiators win that last fight. Down on ultimates, winning fights on Busan that they should not have been able to take. Decay's insane stall on Mecha Base, the Pulse Bomb onto Jinmu. This was an absolute, utter showcasing of the skill, the mechanical skill of these damage players on the Gladiators. It was a close series. And, you know, most people would argue it didn't deserve to go to that 5th map. Jinmu brought us there, but what a treat it was to experience this. I mean, I still can't even believe that what we just witnessed is real.
You know, I am so happy we went to a Game 5. It was just a nail-biter, dangerously close there. Insane stuff here from the Gladiators, who are able to clinch that victory in the end. But guys, we're gonna go throw down to the floor because we got an interview ready to roll.
Thanks, guys. We got Surefour down here. Sorry, we were just dancing and enjoying the Gladiator song. It was pretty fun. You are good at dancing. You can dance. Show us a little dance.
No, I'm the classic nerd. I stay at home. You think I do that?
Fine, fine. All right, no dancing from you. Oh, the crowd sounds like they want to. Well, I'll let you out of it. I'll let you out of it. There it is. Yes, Surefour. So congratulations, you pulled off the win, map 5 against the Chengdu Hunters, who are a notoriously hard team to prep for, but you pivoted and pulled it off after that first map loss. What was the strategy behind that?
It was kind of just choose a comp and just believe in ourselves, get more confident, don't be scared. You know, the fair kind of threw us off a little bit, but, you know, we're just like, all right, just go dive. And then we just somehow pulled it off, and then after that, we're just like, just pick a comp, do it, don't worry about the fair too much, and it's fine.
And you guys did it, congratulations. And speaking of hard teams to prep for, tomorrow you will be taking on the San Francisco Shock, which is kind of scary, but as you said, you guys are the best DPS duo in the world. So will that best DPS duo be able to take down the San Francisco Shock?
Of course, our DPS will always be better. We just have to, you know, make sure we know how to play against the rest of the team as well.
That's also important. Thank you, Surefour. Back to you, Wolf and Achilleos.
Thank you very much, Mika. Always good to hear from Surefour. Always taking the mild takes. He's not going super spicy, but he's got that confidence, and I like to see it.
Yeah, so do I. You know, I mean, they deserve to talk a little bit of smack, and I think to actually have these moments on stage where they could show their real personalities and how excited they are, because I mean, that was a crazy series, as Monty is impersonating every hand gesture I make right now behind the camera. But yeah, it was a really well. I've lost my ability to speak.
It's okay. You know what? We've got a player of the match to take a look at. Wolf, we'll just keep on trucking. Monty has mentally boomed you. Your player of the match, presented by Omen by HP, is none other than Decay.
It's not Monty that boomed me, man. It's how crazy this series was. There were 3 major candidates for the player of the match, for you and I, and of course the others who have influence to decide on this matter. And Shaz was the front runner leading up until the end of this match. Surefour was up there as well. But Decay, with this pulse bomb and this delay, he pushed everything over the edge. A clutch player throughout this entire series across multiple heroes, the Tracer, the Widow, the McCree. He's your player of the match for this crazy 5-map series.
Yeah, this guy just always playing at such a high level. I mean, we saw some, like I said, uncharacteristic misses from him earlier on the very beginning on Lijiang Tower from the McCree. But after that, he just shook off the rust. He said, okay, you know what? I'm back to normal. I am just going to start popping heads. And he absolutely dunked on the Chengdu Hunters. I think they should still hold their heads high. This was a very well-played series by them as well, but they just could not quite come out on top. Decay was a little bit too clutch in the end, it seems. But guys, we're not done yet. Of course, we still have one more match coming your way. It's going to be Guangzhou going up against Hangzhou. So let's see who comes out on top. That match coming at you in just a few, so make sure you stay tuned.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.